What does high score mean? New high score, is that bad? What does that mean? Should I break it?
Hello everyone, welcome to Veteran Gaming Raid Shadow Legends. I am Aaron, and today is a phenomenal day because I finally got my Unkillable clan boss team up and running and working, and it's been quite the journey. It is not quite as simple as just getting the heroes, throwing them in there. I'm going to talk about the journey a little bit. I'm going to talk about exactly how to set up this specific Unkillable team, because huge shout out to Deadwood Jedi. Without all his work, this would never be possible, right? Like, I don't have time to sit down and think all this through. I don't have the brain for it. So big shout out to Deadwood Jedi. However, some stuff on his site was very confusing to me, and if it's confusing to me, it might be confusing to other people, which is the whole point for this video, right? Like, I'm going to try to clarify and simplify some of the stuff on his website, so hopefully it helps you guys, because I had quite a bit of trial and error today, and hopefully if I can erase that for you guys, that's a good thing. So the very first thing I want to do is talk about the journey a little bit. I did make a whole video because I pulled Painkeeper, and I was really pumped about him because I was going to run the budget Unkillable with Painkeeper and Maneater, and frankly it was an absolute nightmare to set up. Initially I thought that the speeds were very manageable, which they are, which made it a little bit better, but it's also a little uncompromising. As you see up there, the stun target 129 speed has to be 129 to hit both Ultimate Nightmare and Nightmare, which is very difficult to hit a true speed like that. But really, I didn't even have a problem getting to that in the end. What really caught me up here was the stun targeting principles, which I'll try to get right over my head. Like, they have to have a certain HP that's more than Painkeeper's, but not more than 125% more. And then the stun target's defense has to be hundreds lower than anyone else on the team, which is kind of a problem for my build, especially because, like, Painkeeper is a rare. Like, I wanted an epic. I actually wanted Ornn to be my stun target, but getting his defense lower was an absolute nightmare. So his HP has to be between 100 and 125% of Painkeeper's, but he also has to keep a lower defense by hundreds than a rare hero. It just wasn't that simple. I mean, maybe I could have picked a different stun target, but switching out all the gear was just such a nightmare that I decided to bail on the ultimate budget and go back to one of the ones I initially was looking into, and that is the Maneater. Excuse me, the Mummy Man. The Mummy Man composition here does not have as much flexibility, right? The ultimate budget, you can put any 2 DPS and any stun target in with Maneater and Painkeeper. This one, you need Rathalos, at least for Nightmare. Ultimate Nightmare, you can swap out Rathalos for any DPS. You can run any 2. But then you need a high Katun or any other hero that puts this specific 30% speed buff and 15% turn meter boost will work. But it's not going to help you get to the speeds as much as High Katun because she has that speed aura, right? Because the speeds here are higher. Maneater is all the way up at 302 compared to the budget Unkillable at 256, right? So some of these speeds are much more difficult to hit. But at the same time, I'm very early mid-game, and I was able to reach these speeds. The other good news is it's not quite as specific on the stun target because Kafru is going to taunt and therefore pull all of the stuns from the clan boss the whole time. So you don't need to, like, kind of find a gear range for your stun target. Your stun target is going to be Kafru. He's going to be taunting every single time. Once you have it set up after, like, the fourth turn of Kafru, third turn, whatever, then it just runs on auto the rest of the time, which is not too shabby at all. A big note here, you can use another DPS instead of Rathalos on Ultimate Nightmare, but on Nightmare, you gotta use Rathalos for this setup. So if you weren't around for Rathalos, this may not be the build for you until you get to Ultimate Nightmare. But really, I don't really see a downside to this because Kafru I don't use in a ton of areas of the game, so specifying him for clan boss is fine with me. Maneater the same, and Maneater is also real fast, and Kafru is here too, so I don't mind putting out, like, Maneater, kind of special for this, but also real fast. That doesn't hurt my feelings. Really, the only thing that hurts my feelings in this setup is High Katun is, like, painfully slow. Especially for a support hero, you want to be blazing fast. This is painfully slow for High Katun. As you can see, I'm running her with the lead. Where is she real quick? I'll pull her up. It was hard to get her this slow. I have her speed at 104. I put no speed gear on her anywhere. It was actually really difficult to find. Like, I haven't even upgraded this one yet, which I should probably do. I don't know why I don't. We'll go ahead and do that real quick. I don't know why I clicked that either. Let's go to 12, see how we do. HP. Okay, whatever. I'll worry about that later. Oh, gloves too. Man, this is bad. Nobody look at this. I swear... Okay, good. I didn't get speed. I was actually really worried there for a minute. Maybe that's why I didn't upgrade it. I was too terrified to get speed. Anyway, getting her speed that low was actually very difficult. As you can see, I didn't have a single speed piece on her anyway. So here is the setup, which is really, really important. And this is kind of one of the things I found pretty confusing for Dead White Jedi. He put out 2 videos on specific Mummy Man composition, and they have different player team setups for their skills. So I, of course, chose the incorrect one first before going to the correct one. So here is our team setup. And this is what you're going to want to set up to make sure this runs as smoothly as possible. I guess I'll go ahead and mention real quick. These speeds, I'm all within, and I highly recommend staying with these speeds. It does say here that you can change the speeds a little bit. Like here, there are wider ranges of alternative speeds, just one difficult. I went within all of these speeds, and it went pretty well. So, hi Katun, here you go. This is the setup, infinite, 1, but you're going to open with the Shamanic Lightning. You can also open with Imperial Grace. This is just the way that Deadwood set it up, so I went with him. Maneater here, you're going to have your opener as Pummel or Siphon, but Ancient Blood here needs to be your priority all the time after that first one. Kafru here, you're going to open with Bone Gladius. You're actually going to use it 3 times. This is the only part you have to manual, is the first 3 turns of Kafru. But you're going to put this as the opener if you want to. Then Kafru, and then Go the Living is always going to take the #1 priority after that. Rathalos Blade Master, you're going to want to open with Spirit Thrust, but then Overhead Slash, and then Spirit Step, and then the Infinite on Spirit Thrust there. Pretty simple. And then I'm running Geomancer. I think he's phenomenal. And this is actually, Geomancer is actually the one that Deadwood Jedi ran in his team also. So don't use the Creeping Petrify. Quicksand Grasp is always going to be your priority, and your Tremor Staff. So there we go. There is our setup. Make sure you have it set up exactly like this. And now we're just going to go ahead and I'll show you the run through. So you can start on auto, but the main thing you want to know before you even get started is you have to make sure that Kafru's first 3 turns are his A1. You need to save that, the taunt, to call it right before he's going to hit that stun. So his first 3 attacks, however you want to track it. If you just want to run it straight on manual for the first whatever, I kind of bounce in and out of auto. I guess I'll move my head over here so you can see exactly when I'm clicking on auto. But here we go. I'm going to start on auto, and then we're just going to kind of pay attention. Okay, you can start with either ability here. I'll actually take it on manual right away because Kafru's going to go second. He's the second fastest. So anything other than his A3, get out of here. And then our A1, and then we're going to put it on auto. And then we're just going to kind of pay attention here to when Kafru is going to get another turn. Which, yep, okay. So here we go. High Katun has to use anything other than the speed boost. So we'll do the A3 ability. I guess I'm blocking that with my head, but oh well. Right here, back on the A1 for Kafru. This is his second turn, so then we can put it back on auto. And then we just want to make sure that we're getting another turn. I already took it back off auto because I'm too scared. I don't want to miss it. There's an A1 for Geomancer. Okay, so here is his A3, which is his, or his, excuse me, his A1, which is his 3rd attack. And that is going to be boom. And then, because we have it set up to be the priority, then we can set it onto auto. And he is going to taunt with his next turn right there. And then Clan Boss is going to do his stun. And Kafru will take it. And from here on out, I guess I can keep my head over there. From here on out, that's just going to be it. At every single turn before an AoE, Maneater is going to have his Unkillable up for the whole team right there. The AoE comes out, and then they're going to go through their turns again. And by the time the Clan Boss is ready to do another stun, Kafru will have his taunt up and ready to go. The important thing here is the difference between the builds from Deadwood Jedi was in the 2 videos that he made. And what kind of confused me was one of the videos, Kafru actually wasn't fully booked for his skill for his taunt. He didn't have it cooled down all the way. The last 2 that you get for his abilities are -1 cooldown, -1 cooldown, and he didn't have one of those, and he could still work. So it looks like if you don't have Kafru fully booked, you have to change your starting turn order a little bit, but it can absolutely still work. But because I had Kafru fully booked for all of his skill cooldowns, I had to actually change how he was set up in the auto feature, and that's exactly the way I showed you in this video. If you don't have Kafru fully booked, it may still be able to be done. Check Deadwood Jedi's videos, but this is the way it is done. This is the exact setup if he is fully booked. As you can see there, he just took another turn, so there's the stun. Every time that stun comes up, he is taunting, which is perfect. He's not there for damage. He's not there for unkillable for the team. That's Maneater's job. The only thing he is there for is to make sure that stun hits him every single time, which he's doing a great job of. So here, all it is a race of damage against the clock. How much damage can you do in the maximum allotted turns? So I am just going to go ahead and fast forward the video here. You guys don't need to sit through the whole thing, but we'll go ahead and talk a little bit more at the end when they run out of turns. All right, so here we are. After the 50 turns, we made it unkillable. We're at 32.25, which isn't a 1-key nightmare yet, but we need to get there. So we're just going to continue working on it, building our damage. The one kind of downside to this whole team is you are essentially being totally carried by Blade Master and Geomancer for your damage. As you can see there, Geomancer's at 13, Blade Master's at 11.5. Everybody else combined is at like 8. 7, maybe something like that. And granted, I don't have my masteries in High Katun yet. It's still, the good news is the unkillable works, and that's the important part. All we have to do now is kind of fine-tune that damage a little bit. So I would highly recommend Mummy Man. It definitely works. The speeds are doable with the speed lead. You got to have Rathalos and another DPS that can really smack to get your damage up there. But that's the easy part, right? Just kind of building them. Some masteries wouldn't hurt either. So just going to do a little bit of fine-tuning. But the good news is it absolutely works. I'm going to show my builds here for everybody one more time. Starting with Rathalos here. He's got his crit rate up there. Need to work on his crit damage a little bit. He's only at like 200%. So we kind of need to do a little fine-tuning to try to get his attack and crit and stuff up there. But his speed is sitting at 105 plus 52 there, so what, 157. The other thing you cannot forget is these area bonuses. If you put in, like I did, a couple of speed here, do not forget to add those to your calculations. And the way I added it was I did his speed right here, 105 plus 52, and then I times that by the multiplier for High Katun's lead, and then, like a true math problem, I did the addition afterwards. So I did the High Katun's speed lead modifier, and then I just tacked 4 onto the end of it, and that seems to be working. So there we go. There's Rathalos. Who else we got here? Maneater himself. 98 plus 154 on the speed, plus High Katun's speed lead, obviously. His crit rate needs to go way up, but frankly, I'm just happy. It was hard enough getting the speed gear with the exact numbers in there, so it's something that I will work on as I get more gear, and that will help out his damage quite a bit. High Katun here, the world's slowest High Katun. She needs some upgrades, and I don't have her masteries filled out all the way yet. Still working on them. But what's important for her is that skill, the Rally the Horde. That's what keeps it rolling at the 5-to-3 ratio for attacks to clan boss attacks. So those are her stats. She needs some work for sure. Again, her crit rate is real far down. But she's just more of a support, right? All the damage is coming from Geo and from Rathalos. But here we go. Here's Kafru the Death Keeper, which hopefully everybody got if they didn't get Armand's at least. His speed 99 plus 130 works out pretty nicely. His crit rate, again, is real far down. His damage is based on defense, too, on his stuff. So I need to crank his defense a little bit more. But I got to make sure that I'm keeping that speed within that window. So, again, he needs some work. He's going to need some fine-tuning just like everybody else. Here's good old Geomancer. Very reasonable speed, 94 plus 54. And his crit rate also needs to go up. Pretty much everybody but Rathalos' crit rate needs to go up. But I was so concerned about making sure I was in the speed that, that and I just don't have that much gear yet. I'm still early mid-game. So there we go. The Unkillable is up and running. I do recommend it, especially, like, it was just so much easier to set up than the Ultimate Budget. Because Ultimate Budget, you need all these other factors, right? You need the HP of the stun target to be a certain number. You need the defense to be a certain number. Whereas for Mummy Man, Kafru is taunting for those stuns. You don't have to worry about a stun target at all. Really, all you got to do is make sure you're putting out enough damage through Rathalos and your other DPS that you're actually getting over that hump into the 1 key for Nightmare and 2 keys for Ultimate Nightmare. But it totally makes sense why this is difficult, moderate, and the difficulty on the budget Unkillable is hard because you got to put a lot more specific numbers into that Ultimate Budget one. So there you go. There is the video on the Unkillable. If you guys have questions, I will try to help you out best I can. Put it in the comments section down below. If you enjoy the video, please give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss upcoming content. And as always, have fun. Good luck.
So I got that going for me, which is nice.